Right, okay, this video is just going to take you through creating a multi-part sprite. So you need to have a sprite that you can move around to test this. So I've just got this T graphic that I can just move with the cursor keys. So what we might want is a separate couple of sprites that are body parts or guns or something that you're holding, and you want them to move around with the player. But the reason we want to do them as separate sprites is that they can animate separately. Okay, so that's what we're going to attempt to do. There's a million ways of doing this, but I'm just going to show you one way using message passing. Okay, right, so when we create the, and this is the sprite I've got title graphic. So when I create this, what I want to do is create another sprite or all my other sprites. I'll do a couple that we're going to generate. So I'm going to say sprite, I'm going to sprite A. So I'm just in the constructor. So that's when I want these other graphics created. So I'm going to have one called left part, which doesn't exist. I'm just putting this sprite reference in because I want it to do the inherent for me without me having to worry about it. Okay, so that's just going to be two sprites. So I'm just going to generate those. So control dot generate method. Oh, I didn't want a method. Oh, stupid. Right, got to be careful with that. I don't want to. Oh, I didn't put the keyword new. That's right. Got confused. Me being stupid. So generate class and generate the other class. Now, if I was doing this with a lot of different sprites, I'd create a base class, but I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna do the work twice. Okay, so we don't necessarily need to store a reference to these, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say left arm equals the left part and right arm, assuming that they're arms. They're not going to look like arms. And I'm just going to create fields for those. I suppose I could have done that to start with. Um, so it's done the right arm. Let's do the left arm. So just generate fields. Now it's named them as those things, which doesn't necessarily matter. So we just got references to them. So if we go to left part, you'll see that it says sprite and right part says sprite. Now to save a load of grief, I'm going to copy the other using statements from the top of my title graphic sprite, and I'm just going to paste them in to the top of left and right so that I've got all my libraries defined. The only other thing we need to do the title graphic is after it's been moved, so I'm looking for the controller code, I'm just going to broadcast its position. So I'm going to say instance.broadcast, and the message, there is a message already built for player position, and I'm just going to put the position 2D. I might do the 3D position, so I'm just going to generate position. I'll explain why when I use that. So that's it. That's all I need to change. So I've just created the two sprites that should be created at the same time. There is some other cleanup code that we need to worry about. So, but we'll get to that. Right, so let's just do left part. So I'm just going to define a basic sprite. So let's make it the constructor for it. So I need a graphic. So I'm going to just add that to the engine. So engine.add sprite, create a graphic, so frame.define, and I'm just going to use text dot, and I'm going to use a triangle. I don't need to set a position, but what I do need to do is I need to subscribe to the player position message. So subscribe player position, and I'm going to call my method that I run follow. So I'm just going to generate that, and all this needs to do is to say position, my position is going to be the vector3 that was transmitted along with a message as object value. That's what general messages are transmitted. You can do more complicated things than that, but that's generally where it is. and we're going to add an offset. Press escape there. Offset doesn't exist yet, so let's create that. So it's created the field for me. So I'm just going to define what the size of this is. So I'm going to say new vector 3. So this is going to be relative to the center position of the sprite. And in fact, if I go back to title graphic, I can make sure it is definitely center position by putting center. So that will always give me the center of the sprite. So my left offset is going to be minus 30, minus 30. So that's 30 to the left of the center and 30 up from the center. But I'm also going to do that so that the arms are behind the main graphic. Okay. So if we just run that, there you go. So you see, let's change the color of the T and move the offsets in a bit. Just want to show you it working. But I'm going to change the color of the title graphic. So let's just wash it with something. Just wash it blue. And you'll see that the white triangle is behind. There you go. So the white triangle is behind because I put an offset of -1 in the Z value. That -1 there. Right. What we also need to do, if this sprite gets killed, we need to clean up. So we need to create a version of cleanup. Okay, and this is called by the engine, and we need to make sure we unsubscribe from that message. So unsubscribe extra messages dot player position follow. So we're just saying that method and that subscription, get rid of it. So if I issue a kill command, that's what it's going to do. Right, I'm going to do exactly the same thing for the right part. So I'm going to be really naughty and just copy and paste all this stuff and put it in right sprite. And obviously the constructor is going to be wrong. So let's just change that to right part. And I'm going to make this appear on the other side. So I'm just changing the X offset to +20. Okay, so if I run that, you'll see that I've now got 2 arms or 2 triangles, or it's a cat out of an angel T. It's a dead T. Right, so what I might do is I might get that character might get killed. So I'm just going to, in the title graphic, the main character graphic now, I'm just going to turn the timer system on to just kill the sprite. So timer dot kill after, and I'm just going to kill it after 5 seconds. And I'll show you there's a problem. So I'll be able to move this around 5 seconds and the T is going to die. Okay. Unfortunately, we want the 2 triangles to die as well. They're not going to move anymore because the T's gone, but we need to get rid of those. So what we need to do is create a funeral, or we could actually do a cleanup, but I'll do it as a funeral callback. So funeral callback plus equals I died. So let's create that. And what we must make sure we do is we get rid of those references. So we can say left arm dot kill and right arm dot kill. And you'll see what happens this time is that when the T sprite dies, the other 2 will disappear as well. Okay, so that's multi-part sprites. And if you want to do anything more complicated, let's say you want to do rotation, let me just put that in. So let's just put some key code in the main sprite. So input manage, I'm going to get a bit annoyed in a minute. So key down, and I'm just going to use page up, page. I'm going to use A and D actually. Keys dot A. So if I do that, I'm going to rotate my sprite. So I'm going to say rotate. Oh, I haven't put another bracket. Hang on. So rotation angle minus minus. Just going to do the other one. So that's going to be D. And I'm going to do rotation angle plus plus. So you'll see when I do this. So I'm going to do D. Right, I want the other 2 characters to rotate as well. So I need to modify what I'm doing with my player position. So I need the rotation data. So what I can actually do is I can actually just transmit the whole player. Go to my left part. So here I've got this position, but what I need to do is say sprite p equals, and then I can say sprite message dot object value. So I'm saying take the object, treat it as a sprite, and then here I would put p plus off p dot position, and see I get all the things to do with the sprite, and then we could add the offset on. So we could do that, but I want to do is rotate my offset around. So I'm going to make up the position, I think. So I'm going to say my, so I'm going to say vector 3, my position equals, and it's going to be p dot position, or p dot center I should use, p dot center plus the offset. Now that gives me the unrotated position. So what I need to do is I need to use the rotation helper and say rotate around, and it wants to know there's different versions of this. So I want this one. So I want the point that I want to rotate, and it gives me a vector 3 back. So I'm going to say the point I want to rotate is my position. The origin is p dot center, and the angle is p dot rotation angle. So that will be my true position. So I'm going to set my position to be equal to that. So I don't want that code now. So I've set up where my basic offset is, and then I've rotated it. So let's see if that works. So it's only working for the left-hand side one at the minute. Oh, it's crashed. I've done something stupid. Oh, because I've broken the right-hand side one. Yeah. Let's just disable that a minute. So on the right part, let's just comment that out, because that isn't going to work, because it's not a vector 3 anymore, it's a sprite. So as I rotate, oh, let me turn the kill timer off. So as I rotate, it rotates with it, but you can see the other thing it's not doing is it's not rotating itself. So what I need to do in left part is I just need to mirror the rotation. So I'm going to say rotation angle equals p dot rotation angle. So I move it around, and you see I rotate. So we can use the exact same code for the right hand one. So I'm just going to copy and paste that, go onto the right part. We don't want that anymore, so we're just going to overwrite that. And then that will allow us to have two rotating. And obviously those sprites can animate and do whatever they want independently. Okay, so you can subscribe to all the messages and send messages from the main player as to when they need to do certain actions. Okay, I'll leave it at that.